When the heart stops beating, the physical transport of oxygen fails. Blood pressure falls to zero, and the 5 liters of fluid that were just circulating through your body stagnates in place. From the perspective of an observer, the body is now motionless. The eyes and ears no longer react to external stimuli, suggesting a state of total inactivity. However, the brain remains structurally intact for several minutes. For the first 10 seconds, the cerebral cortex continues to function using the oxygen already present in the static blood. Our standard understanding of this process has long focused on a linear decline into silence, but data gathered from monitored patients suggests that the final minute of brain activity follows a different trajectory. Rather than an immediate shutdown, the 60 seconds following clinical death involve a rapid transition into a hyperactive neurological state. In 2023, neuroscientist Jimo Borjigin at the University of Michigan examined this transition by monitoring the brain activity of comatose patients as life support was withdrawn. The team expected to record a steady decay in electrical signals as the brain cells ran out of fuel, eventually leading to a flat line on the monitors. While the dotted line shows the expected decline, the solid line tracks a sudden spike in electrical voltage occurring seconds after the heart stopped. These oscillations are gamma waves, the markers of high-level cognitive functions, including dreaming, intense focus, and memory retrieval. The sensor showed this activity was most intense in the posterior cortical hot zone, the area of the brain responsible for visual processing and the construction of internal imagery. At the moment of clinical death, the brain enters a state of high-frequency synchronization that is more intense than any recorded during the patient's waking life. This spike in gamma activity correlates with the life review reported by survivors of cardiac arrest. We often assume this experience consists of a highlight reel of major life milestones, but the clinical accounts from those who return suggest the brain does not prioritize these significant cultural achievements. One resuscitated young man reported that his visual field was dominated by a single, hyper-specific image, a white cat sitting on a carpeted staircase. He did not recognize the location until he described it to his mother. She identified it as the apartment building they had moved out of when he was only 14 months old, a place he had no conscious memory of visiting. This indicates that the visual data from his infancy was stored in a way that remained accessible to the brain's internal retrieval systems, even decades later. The brain appears to function as a storage system that retains sensory data regardless of whether we can consciously recall it, and the final gamma surge triggers a retrieval of these dormant files. During these 60 seconds, the body exists in a state of biological limbo. If medical intervention does not restore oxygen, the internal playback of these recorded memories becomes the brain's final processing task. The data suggests that in this terminal state, the brain bypasses complex social identities and ego-driven concerns, focusing instead on the granular, sensory data stored in its archive. This playback involves the mundane, the light on a Tuesday afternoon, checking an inbox, or the specific movement of riding a bike as a child. The activation of the visual cortex suggests that at the end of consciousness, the brain dedicates its remaining energy to reprocessing the actual lived minutes of a person's life. While the body remains still, the final neurological record consists of these ordinary, previously forgotten moments. It is a retrieval of the life exactly as it was experienced, down to the last second.